these on. Oh, upside down. Wait, I'm over here reading backwards. Ooh, ooh, dang, that looks good. Bam. All right, now that that's all done, let's get right into the video. Thanks for watching, guys. All right, guys. So before we get right into it, I just want to talk a little bit about the exterior of my car. So this is a 2016 WRX. It was a premium edition, so it's got the sunroof, things like that. Little tidbits. I think other differences are the display unit inside, some interior goodies. It's got a short throw shifter, STI short throw from the factory, things like that. As far as how well the exterior has held up, so far it's been okay. The front bumper is probably my least favorite thing about the this VA style bumper. I think it's from 15, and then they did the refresh in 2018. So I like the refresh. The 16, which is this model year, the few changes that I did were to the grill. I added a JDM grill with, of course, the giving tribute to the old Impreza logo. So I took away the Subaru blue logo. I also deleted the bottom mesh for my front mount. I just thought it looked a little bit cooler. Another thing that I'm getting ready to change out are these right here, the fog light bezels. Those are getting swapped out when I'm wrapping the car. The car should be wrapped a little after Christmas, so that's coming shortly. I deleted, or I guess I replaced the WRX logo with a matte black. Just thought it was cleaner, taking off all the chrome. Not too many things I've done on the exterior. I do have some different tail light modifications. I just haven't put them on, and of course I just deleted everything off the back. I thought it was cleaner look. And then of course my XT006 R Cosmos wheels, they have been pretty good. This build, I was going for more like a track inspired build, so I didn't want to get anything too expensive as far as wheels go. So I went with this. My other option at the time was Advent GTs, but again, I couldn't justify spending the extra knowing that I was daily driving this and kind of beating it up. So far it's been good. Like I said, the only gripe I have was really the front bumper issue. I went through probably like 5 different splitters. My first mistake was buying 2 carbon fiber splitters, and as you guys know, for these they're not cheap. So yeah, it doesn't have a splitter on it, and it's okay, because like I said, right now I've been daily driving this, as you can tell by the mileage. So far so good. Yeah, and oh, I did some headlight modifications. As you can see, it's like blacked out and stuff. So let's get right into it. All right, we'll do a little cold start for the boys. So hopefully you guys can see me and hear me very well, clearly. Just turn everything off. Sorry for my gear. It's cold in Virginia right now. It's about 38 degrees outside right now, and like 2 days ago it was just 70, so it's kind of weird. Yeah, so I talked a little bit about what the interior is, and it is what it is in the VA style. I like, let's see, which way am I going? Go right or left. I like how Subaru ended up doing the interior. It's really like driver focused, and that's what I like. The downside of the interior. A lot of the stuff you interact with and touch, it ends up like going bad or needs replacing, and that is I guess my number one thing that I do not like about the interior. I ended up switching like a lot of this stuff out. If you watch my other video on how to wrap your steering wheel, that's something that I did because the OEM and steering wheel did not hold up well with just natural elements and things like that. The craziest thing is I usually use like a sun visor and, or some type of like UV protection for my dash. So it is insane that my steering wheel ended up going bad as quickly as it did. This car does have 100,000 miles. I just hit that a couple days ago, and that's what led me to do this video in car review. Other things I talked about already. I swapped out the shift knob. My hands are pretty big. I'm 6'2", 210 pounds, so I'm not a small guy. I had the STI short throw shifter from the factory in this car, and it came with the STI shift knob. But to me, it's so small. I like this one. It's Billet Works shift knob that I ordered from them. I like the design of it. It was something that I ended up going with that's ergonomically sound. And then I got the HVAC controls to match. A lot of people talk bad about the VA style WRXs from not necessarily a style standpoint, but really I guess the engine was the biggest, I guess could be a pro and a con. Pro to me is that I've hit 100,000 miles, and I've had EJs in the past, and anybody on a stock block on an EJ that hits 100,000 miles is usually they're not modifying their engines. So it's kind of crazy that this car has hit 100,000 miles, and it was kind of the test mule before the new STI comes out next year for the FA motor. So it is kind of crazy that we made it to this point, especially with all the modifications that I've done to this car. It's really held up well. One thing that I've noticed with everything that I've done to the car, and with the amount of tuning that I've put this this car through, is that not everybody knows how to tune an FA motor on the WRX platform. So it's very important that you guys, number one, do your homework on tuning solutions, on if you choose to go that route on modifying your WRX. That is one thing that I've learned reading a lot of forums, just the issues I've had in the past with a lot of tuning shops that had zero experience with tuning these cars. One of my friends that I actually bought some brakes from, he went through 2 motors with through a local tuner, and I'm not going to name the shop's name. But I'm just gonna reiterate the fact that it is important to number one, do your homework, and talk to people. There's so many people with this style body that you could go to Cars and Coffee and throw a rock and you'll hit 15 different WRXs. So it's not like a hard platform to find. If there's something you could think of that you want to do to the car, chances are somebody's already done it. And I was one of the first few people in this area to get this car brand new and do like a front mount to it, or do some of the other things that have really platformed my enjoyment to this car. Originally, I had a 2007 Civic Si that I came from, and I love that car. That car was one of my favorite cars. I had that as a daily. of course, being 2007 or whatever, it went up in mileage. I sold it, and I also rode a lot of sports bikes. I had 3 different sports bikes. You know, ended up having kids, and my sport bike dreams kind of fell out, stopped riding, and so I sold all my bikes, and it led me to get some type of 4-door sedan that I could modify. Originally, I was looking at a 2015 STI, and I opted to get this because I could get it brand new with 0 miles, and then it was a new platform, and I wanted to just try it out. I wanted to see what the fuss was about. So that's what I did. I ended up getting this car brand new, 0 miles. Literally, I broke in the car like they said. I think I hit, I want to say it was like 3,000 miles that I went on the stock, fully stock. And I contacted the people up at MA Performance, and I was like, hey, I want to go stage 2. And from my understanding, the thing about Subaru is that it's very similar to, I think I've seen Volkswagen and Audi are the only other people that do this, but they do like stage 1, stage 2, or stage 3 or whatever. And so I ended up going stage 1 right off the bat. I had to order an access port, which is, I have my Cobb access port up here in the corner of my car, and I ended up getting downpipes. I'm sorry, that was pretty funny. There's a Volkswagen Beetle trying to, I guess, do a pull, but it's like the newer Beetle, not like a sleeper. Shout out to 1320 Video if you guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it was a newer style Beetle trying to do a pull. Anyways, so I went stage 1 automatically, did downpipes, tune, air intake, and that was like my the first thing I bought. I bought it straight from them. So I got a catless downpipe and everything like that. This car isn't running a catless downpipe, which is still loud, and I'll get there in a second. In fact, I'll do a pull right here. There was an 18-wheeler in front of me. Alright, so then shortly after that, I ended up getting a stage 2 tune from them. I did like an E-tune, because that's when I did the front mount. So it was a full 3-inch catless setup from headers back, and then once I did that and got the stage 2 tune, it was a little bit too loud for me. I wanted something a little bit milder, a little bit less, a little bit less crazy, and it was ridiculous. So I ended up getting a catted downpipe, and then still kept the like the muffler deletes, like they didn't have any cats on the mufflers. So like that ended up being fine. Now another thing that I did once that got out of my system, and Killer B came out with the header setup where it was an external wastegate setup, and I saw that and I was like, man, this is gonna be like a crazy setup. If I do it, I'll be one of the the first few, especially in the area, to do it. So I ended up doing that. I ended up getting the Killer B external wastegated headers, and I got those installed with two external wastegates on them. So the setup was kind of crazy because in my older EJ setups that I had a 2002 WRX, and with that setup, it wasn't the wagon that it's in my videos. I had this like a long time ago, but in that setup, with the way the EJs are set up, they're really just set up for a single external wastegate. So the setup was way different than how they are on this FA20 motor. So it's kind of crazy. This setup has, you know, all the bolt-ons you can think of. So it is on a stock block, and that's like one thing that I love about this platform is that it's like building Legos as a kid. You know, there's so many like little things that you can add to the car to make it, you know, your own. All the kind of the safety mods, as far as like maintenance and things like that. You know, I did air oil separators, the competition style. So I did that. I did like a aftermarket pit stop, things like that. One other thing that I think was my biggest like mod that I actually fell in love with, because you don't get this in, you know, cheaper sports cars, is like an active dampening setup. This suspension on this car, I ended up going with Blitz, I forget the model, I think it's like ZZR coilovers, and I think it comes factory from, what is it? I can't remember the spring rates. I think they're like 10K all around. I think that's what it was set up as. But I got the electronic controller right here. I wanted to install it on somewhere here in the, you know, in the center console, but I wanted it to look factory somehow. So my buddy Patrick and I, and if you watch any of the other videos, it was like one of our first mods that we recorded, and we did the Alcantara boot and the Alcantara like armrest and everything like that, and we also like cut this little hole out in the center console, and kind of did our little you know, the little display for it. I had a local shop at the time. I think they're out of business now, but the guys in there, they were really knowledgeable, and I couldn't read I couldn't read Japanese like for the life of me, so everything was in Japanese. I was trying to use a translator to do all the electronics, and we had an iPad that took a picture of the instructions of trying to do like all the wiring, and I suck at wiring with everything, which is kind of funny because I'm in school for engineering, but like wiring something that is in a different language. I know traditional colors for wires are the same across the board, but I wasn't sure, and that was the craziest thing, and and they've dealt with it before, and even when they installed it, the dampening settings came out like it was like flip-flopped, which is fine, like everything works, but traditionally one would be like your softest setting, and then the higher you go up in numbers, the stiffer the suspension should get, and that's like theoretically how it was supposed to be set up. This was like flip-flop backwards, so one is my stiffest setting, and then I can adjust through the controller like how soft I want it, or I guess if you're starting from one, which would be the hardest. I always keep it on the softest because I'm daily driving this car. If I kept it on the stiffest setting like all the time, it would just be kind of obnoxious and too stiff. You know, people get in my car all the time and they talk about how smooth the car is, even you know, when I'm going well, when you're going faster it's smooth, but when I'm going slower, every bump is like, you know, you feel it. So that's the downside of doing something like that. But I love the way I can adjust it on the fly in the car. I don't have to stop to adjust it, although you know, you kind of want that, just to be on a little bit of the safe side. Like if you're not going over any bumps and it's trying to set or reset and things like that. So that's one thing that I love about this car in general, and I'm kind of just making it my own, you know, my own feel, my own build, and that's the beauty of this car. Like I said, I wanted something after I had sold everything and this was like my daily driver. I wanted to do something that made me feel comfortable as a driver, and that looked cool, and that was something that I added. So all these little features in the car are things that I've added through the years. Kind of like I'm a creature of comfort, you know. One thing that I do say that I love also is my heated seats. I use them obviously throughout the winter. It was like one of the things that have kept me from upgrading these seats. I am going to upgrade the seats in the future because when you're doing some spirited driving in this car, they do not hold you in whatsoever. So that is a negative of the VA style WRXs. Outside of kind of the specialty series WRXs, like I think they have the Series Gray WRX in 2019, and those came with Recaro seats. You know, some of the newer the newer WRXs are starting to come with those and Brembos and things like that. I did buy an upgraded big brake system for this car. It's a Brembo brake system, and I'm having a shop powder coat them for me because I bought them. They were in red, and of course red on red is not gonna work, so I'm having them powder coat the brakes for me. So when that comes in, I'm gonna install them. I'll do a video on that, on going from the stock brakes to a big brake kit. So that's one thing that I can't wait for. So yeah. So as you can hear, the external wastegates, like they'll open up usually around like 3.5K. Between 3K and 4K is usually when they start to open up, and you can hear it. So car really opens up mid-range. It's exactly like what I wanted. You know, sometimes I'll go out on drives with my buddy, and we'll go out in the country, and you know, usually we'll do some spirited driving, and everything is like perfect. The car is set up on a square setup, so it's set up. The Cosmos wheels are 18 by 9s. I think they're a plus 35 offset. So that's the way I have it set up. Open up this so you guys can hear. Hopefully the audio picks up everything. Guys, that's gonna sum up my my 100,000 mile review of my car. I hope you guys got something from the video, and if you guys are in the market for any used WRXs, what I would personally do is shoot for the 2018 to 2020 models, or 2021, whatever. If you're buying it used or new, you can get these pretty readily available in the used market, and they're not expensive. So I would definitely buy it used. You can get them under 20K. You can definitely get 15s to 17s, the year models, for pretty cheap. I mean, those, like I've seen them go as low as like $15,000, and that's pretty much where they're gonna hold that. So you're not gonna get much depreciation if you buy one of those year models. And I think you get a lot of bang for your buck there at 30,000, which is right in the ballpark of where these are brand new. I don't think they're worth that. Like, looking back at it now, from what I know, I would either buy like a used STI at that point if you are going to spend the money. Like I said earlier, I did it because I wanted to experience this platform and kind of do something different than what I did in the past. But looking back at it now, it probably wasn't the best. I was also looking at an Evo at the time, and I probably should have went that route. I love Evos, by the way, shout out. And yeah, so if you are in the market, like I said, I would get it used, and kind of go that route. And there's so many people like getting rid of like parts and things like that you can buy this platform at like 15 grand and buy so many used, probably the same setup that I have, and get everything either installed by yourself. I did mostly everything myself, or you could have a shop do it, but you could probably get it for around like 20 grand with everything. So 20 grand for something like this. If you're going to keep it like this as a daily, I think the setup is pretty good. If you're trying to go like built motor, then I definitely would not go this route. I would end up either going with a different platform or just waiting for like the newer WRXs and the newer STIs coming out with the newer FA motors. The newer STI coming out is supposed to have like some beefier internals, capable of like holding a lot more power. So the older VA style WRXs were kind of like the testing platform to see how the FA motors held up. Of course, their sales have been through the roof with the Evos discontinuing. So the R&D behind these cars are there, and I think the next generations are going to be a lot better, especially knowing that a lot of people want to modify these cars, and that's kind of what we buy them for. We buy them as Lego cars and to do what we want with them. So I'm gonna keep this car. I think it's been very good to me, and it'll be in my family for a little bit, for a little while. I'm just gonna do the next modifications that I do are gonna be kind of more comfort stuff. I might do the seats, and then a few more maintenance stuff. I think I'm gonna change out the radiator and change all the hoses out to silicone hoses. But so far, I'm gonna keep everything else the same, and that's what I'm gonna do with my car. So if you're new to the channel, go ahead and like and subscribe. Stay tuned for what I got for the S2000. I got a bunch more stuff for that. I'm just waiting on parts. They're being shipped from Japan because a lot of the parts are from there. I was trying to go as authentic as possible on that car. The S2000 was my dream car for like the longest time. That and a Mark IV Super, and one day I'll get a Mark IV. Especially, well, the prices are like going crazy on them, but I'm definitely gonna get one. It's my dream car. I'm gonna end up getting one. S2000 was my dream car, and I got that. And I'm doing the build that I want on that car. Some of the things I've done, some people don't like, some people do. Whatever. I really, don't care. So I hope you guys enjoyed the content, and yeah, I'm gonna take the rest of the day and just enjoy the somewhat beautiful day. It looks like it's bright out, but it's like 40 degrees, so it's still kind of chilly. So yeah, go ahead and like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.